Tonight, I'm going to be talking about a very sensitive topic. This program is not intended for children, so parental discretion is advised. Tyrone Bowman live. It happens more often than you think in America and around the world. Men who are abused and violated by women. Statistically speaking, it has been women who have been abused and violated by men, and the police reports and statistics reveal it, and so does the judicial system. But there is another side to domestic violence. It is a hidden side, one that is buried deep within the masculinity of manhood. They don't want anyone to know that they're actually being abused by a woman. Well, it happens more often than you think. So that's the topic on today. And I'll be reading an article as reported by menoclinic.org entitled Domestic Violence Against Men Recognize the Patterns and They Should Seek Help. Individuals might not believe that it exists, but it does exist a lot more often than you think. And what are some of the precipitous things that lead to men being abused by women? Well, some of the underlying factors, though not justifiable, could be from their childhood, seeing their mother abused by their father or the different men in their lives, or their grandmother, who might have been abused by their grandfather. And as a result, when young women are impressionable and growing up, they vow within themselves, no man is ever going to tell me what to do or abuse me. So what do? Become the batterer. They become the individual. Their attitude, their meanness, their cruelty of words, you'd be surprised how many men report altercations of domestic violence to the police and they laugh at them. They don't take them seriously. Well, let's get right down to it. How many men go and talk to their mothers or someone in their life and let them know what they're dealing with? Earlier today, before I came on, I saw a deeply disturbing story about a young pastor who was murdered by his wife. He was being abused by her. And they tried to flip the script and try to make it seem like he was the abuser when in actuality, it was her that was doing the abusing all the time. Has she been arrested? No. And the sad thing about it is that he died in front of his daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to the things I'm going to be talking about, and please pay attention because there are alarming signs. And if you have a son who is being abused by his girlfriend or his wife, and he comes to you and tries to talk to you, listen to them. So according to the Mayo Clinic, domestic violence against men isn't always easy to identify, but it's a serious threat. Learn how to recognize it if you're being abused and how to get help. Quote, domestic violence happens between people who are or have been in a close relationship. Isn't that something? You see it all the time. I see it all the time. Men who are berated by loudmouth, out of control, emotionally damaged women, cursing them and cussing them out in public, acting unseemly, especially among young girls, young women. And then they'll say, I'm a lady. No, you're not a lady. You're irate. You're out of control. You're bitter. You're hateful. That pattern didn't just happen when they became adults. That pattern was developed because they learned it. They were taught how to be abusive because women within their family were abusive to the men in their family as well. So it's also called intimate partner violence. This type of violence can take many forms, including emotional, sexual, and physical abuse, stalking, and threats of abuse. Although domestic violence most often happens to women, it can happen to anyone. But at times, it might not be easy to recognize domestic violence against men. Abusive relationships involve one person having power and control over the other person. How many times have you heard this? If you don't do what I say, you'll never see your children again or your child. You'll see your child when I say you can see your child. I don't care what the court says. Many times when the relationship is over and he has moved on, she grows bitter, hateful, revengeful, spiteful. And she's going to try to find a way to get even. She'll say, well, I don't want that woman around my child. And no matter how good he tries to be to her, no matter how nice he tries to be to her, no matter how many times he grants concessions to her, she's still hateful. She's still mean. She's still evil. She's still bitter. You see it happening every day in Hollywood, the contentious divorce that goes on in a high-profile situation, the name-calling, the mud-slinging, the irreconcilable differences that they say, no, one was an abuser. But they wouldn't dare say it publicly because they don't want to be scoffed at. They don't want to be laughed at. And I'm not sitting here just talking to be talking. I'm sounding an alarm because too many men are sitting in prison unnecessarily right now because they have been abused by their girlfriend or their baby's mama or their baby's mommies, all because he didn't do what she said. Oh, you're not going to do what I tell you? I know how to get even with you. And she knows just the things to say: domestic abuse or child abuse. Those two things, they trigger the worst vitriol coming from the district attorney's office, the prosecutors, the police, and the judge. The man could be totally innocent, but they're not going to believe him. They're going to believe her. She'll sit there and lie through her teeth and through her weave on the witness stand, crying unnecessarily throughout the entire ordeal. As long as she gets her revenge, she doesn't care. She doesn't care how many years he does in prison, and then eventually somewhere along the line, the truth will reveal itself. Oh, well, I said I was sorry. Well, you know what? Sorry doesn't cut it when you have destroyed someone's life. Sorry doesn't cut it when they're bagged and tagged throughout the judicial system. Sorry doesn't cut it when you vindictively set out maliciously with a personal axe to grind and a vendetta against someone who did not want you anymore. You didn't want to hear the word, oh, we're finished. We're not done until I say it's done. It's not over until I say it's over. So abusive relationships involve one person having power and control over the other person. That's what happens in a heterosexual relationship. The man asserts power over the woman. He abuses her, and then the abused become the abuser. So in her next relationship, all of the stuff that she put up with in the first relationship, or the first 2 or 3 or 4, whatever it is, she's going to make sure that this decent, God-fearing, upright, hard-working, mild-mannered man pays the price for what she had to suffer. She doesn't want him, but she don't want nobody else to have him either. You get the point so far? I do. An abuser uses threatening, hurtful words and behaviors to control a partner. Have you ever seen it? Have you ever witnessed it? Have you ever heard it? The berating, the insulting, the nastiness, the edginess, the bitterness, the venomous poison coming through their tongue. You're in a restaurant, nothing pleases her. They're going shopping, she's never satisfied. Driving a car, nagging all the way. on their way to church. Oh, yes, it happens in church lifestyle too. Don't think that men don't get abused in so-called Christian relationships, because they do. Have a mean, hateful, bitter, jealous, vindictive wife. He can't have a friend. He can't have, because it's got to be something more than a friendship. It has to be romance or sex involved. So she has an attitude with all the sisters in the church because he has an outgoing, bubbly personality. She's introverted, mean, and distrusting of everything, everyone, and everybody. Beware, men, of this type of woman. When you first see the warning signs, you need to learn to walk away. You're not going to please her. You can't soothe her. Being overly kind and generous is a wrong thing to do because she's not used to it. And it'll take her 10, 20, maybe 30 years, and then she might say, you know what? I guess I love you. What do you mean you guess? He took your 5 children, raised them as his own, did everything that had to be done, and you're going to say you guess you love him? That's the pattern of an abuser. I see it all the time. I wonder how these men stay partnered with these women, how they stay married to them. And eventually, listen to me. Today, I'm just talking about men who are being abused. Then I'm going to talk about women who are abused. And I'm going to talk about abuse in the LGBTQ plus community as well. I'm going to hit it all. I'm going to talk about elderly abuse. I'm going to talk about the abuse that goes on in the nursing care industry. But today, I'm starting with the men who are abused by women. This is the topic for today. So early in the relationship, an abusive partner may seem attentive, generous, and protective. Listen, the key word is seem, have the appearance of being attentive, generous, and protective. But in actuality, they're possessive. And I say, well, this is the way I am. You just have to excuse me. I don't mean anything personal. No, you're plotting something within your mind. And you're setting the stage for somewhere along the line that if he gets out of line, you got to put him back in check. Tyler Perry needs to make some movies about men who are abused, coming out of the Tyler Perry studios, and not just about women being abused. You know, I saw the movie Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Here's a title for you, Mr. Tyler Perry. How about The Revenge of an Angry Black Man? That's a good title. Work with it. You got that one for free. So, early in the relationship, an abusive partner may seem attentive, generous, and protective. But later, that attention can become controlling and scary. What? You're kidding, Tyrone. No, I'm not kidding. How does a person become controlling? Because early on, they want to make sure you do everything that they want the way they want it done. Well, this is what I want. I don't like that. I like this. I want this. I don't want that. I don't care what you want. This is what I want. Just setting the stage for a manipulative, controlling, abusive relationship. And what is it going to lead to? Prison or death. That's it. Prison or death. There's nothing good that will come out of it. The abuse might seem to be an isolated incident at first. The abusive partner may apologize and promise not to do it again. And what do? They turn around and do it again. If everything that they said they weren't going to do, they continue to do it. So what are the signs of domestic abuse? And how can you know them? 1, let's go down a list. She calls you names, insults you, or puts you down. You can't do nothing right. You're just worthless. I don't know why I put up with you. You should be lucky to be with all of this. Well, all of this, with your nasty attitude, your big mouth, an out of control tongue with a hateful attitude, it's not worth the sex, baby. Just tell it the way it is. On this program, I don't play. It's uncompromising over here. This is not a program for the faint of heart because whatever you have, it's not worth the agony and the despair and the hate and bitterness and the living hell that you put somebody's son through. Just like somebody in your family don't want you abused, you don't have the right to abuse a mother's son. Let me say it again. You don't have the right to abuse a mother's son. You don't have the right to insult him, to belittle him, to demean him, and tell him that you come before anything, everyone, and everybody. And if he has a close relationship with his mother and you don't have one with yours, what are you jealous of? He shouldn't forsake his mother for you because at the end of the day, his mother will be there for him when you are long gone and forgotten. Number 2, often acts jealous or possessive. Beware of the jealous and possessive nature of a potential abuser. When the signs are there, you better pay attention. Forget about how pretty she is. Forget about her body shape and her pretty teeth and all that other stuff that comes along with it. You better look beneath that stuff and find out what the heart of the person is like. What is the heart like? Too many you keep going by what you physically see. You don't want a decent, wholesome, clean living, girl. You want the ones that slide up and down the pole in the club where you spend your hard-earned money at. That's the kind of person you think that you want. And you don't realize she does not love you. That's a job for her. But you and your dumb self, you fell for it. Remember the Players Club, the movie? Some people need to go back and watch it. This is not a game. This is real. Because somewhere in America, right now, as I'm talking, somebody's son is being abused. Some man is being abused by a hateful, bitter, mean, jealous, vindictive, possessive, unforgiving woman. And she is punishing him for all the stuff that somebody did to her before she met him. She prayed to God, oh, if you just give me a good God-fearing man, somebody who loves you, I swear I'll be the best wife that there ever is. And then you just become just the opposite. Yeah, I'm talking to you Christian women now. Yeah, I'm talking to y'all. I don't want to hear about, well, Tyrone, that's not every Christian woman. Well, I'm talking about this type today. This is the type I'm talking about. This type right here, possessive, abusive, out of control, loudmouth, pretentious on the outside, behind closed doors, the Satan's daughter. These type of relationships. Number 3, tries to control how you spend money or your access to money. Yeah, she wants to control everything. First thing she wants to do, she wants to put her name on all the accounts that you have for the stuff that you work for. Big mistake that you men make. Stop putting her name on everything. You don't even know who she is. You got your name on her name on life insurance policies, on every account that you have. That way she can control you. And she's setting you up for a potential divorce so she can take half of what you have. That's why most women, when they date high-profile celebrities, their agents tell them you better protect yourself and you better have the prenuptial agreement. Because if you don't sign the prenup, you're done. Right now, one young athlete is going through a living nightmare because he refused good, sound wisdom, sound advice. And he would not let his now estranged, hateful, bitter, soon ex-wife, who was asking for $50 million, he refused to make her sign a prenuptial agreement. He was on TikTok and Instagram just acting stupid and retarded like he had never been in love with anybody before. And they told this high-profile athlete, protect yourself. But did he listen? No, he did not. He refused to listen. And now he's paying the price. And what is she citing? Domestic abuse. You haven't even known him that long. And you're saying that he's abused you. You know you're lying. I'll talk more about that in a separate video. Number 4, tracks where you go, what you do online, and who you talk to on the phone. You need to learn to lock your phones. Just like she doesn't want you going through her telephone, she should not be going through yours. It's called an invasion of privacy. It's because you're married that doesn't give you the right to go through somebody's telephone. Just like people who open up other people's mail. That's a federal offense, punishable by 5 to 10 years in prison. Number 5, prevent you from going to work or school. She has a problem with it. Stops you from seeing family members or friends. That's number 6. She's jealous. She just wants you totally isolated where only she and she alone has access to you. Because that way, there aren't any witnesses around when she does the things to you that she's planning in her mind to do. You better wake up. You better listen. I'm sounding an alarm. And I'm showing you the pattern of physicality when it comes to abuse against men. Gets angry or abusive when drinking alcohol or using drugs. That'd be grounds for divorce for me right then and there. Tries to control whether you can see a healthcare professional, threatens you, your children, or your pets with violence or a weapon. She hits, kicks, shoves, slaps, chokes, or otherwise hurts you, your children, or your pets. Now you're going to tell me that this doesn't happen to men every day. It happens to men every day here in America and around the world. Forces you to have sex or engage in sexual acts against your will. If you don't do it, somebody will. And they use it as a weapon. I said they use it as a weapon. Sexual intimacy is used as a weapon. Oh, you've been a good boy, so you'll get a reward. Excuse me, what do you mean a good boy? I'm not a child. I don't need a freaking cookie. You must be out of your freaking right mind. Nowhere in the marital vows did it state that's what sexual intimacy is for. But yet it's used as a weapon every single day in this nation. And too many of you men, you're gullible, you're weak, and you're pathetic when it comes to females. And you'll bow down and do whatever they say as long as you can get what you want. And you know that she's abusive, and you'll lie for her, and you'll cover up for her in her wrong. You're just as guilty as she is. Blames you for problems in the relationship or violent behavior, or tells you that you deserve it. When she says that, that means that's what she was told. That's what she was told in her past relationship. Now, watch this one. If you're gay, bisexual, transgender, or gender diverse, you also may be experiencing domestic violence if your partner does what? Threatens to tell friends, family, colleagues, or community members about your sexual orientation or gender identity without your consent. Tells you that leaving the relationship means you're admitting that gay, bisexual, transgender relationships are wrong. Justifies abuse by telling you that your gender identity or sexual orientation isn't real. Tells you that law enforcement won't help a gay, bisexual, transgender, or gender diverse person. This is the world that we live in today. Violence everywhere. And what are some of the main things that lead to it? Drinking, smoking weed, getting drunk. All these things that people do. Going out on a so-called evening, and venture into town. You sit there and drink a bunch of alcohol and smoke weed for about 4 or 5 hours. Your mind is altered. You're in a different state of mind. You're not thinking with clarity. And you're not speaking with sense. So you got to understand what the cycle is. An abusive pattern may include the following. An abuser threatens violence. An abuser harms a partner. The harm may be emotional, sexual, or physical. An abuser apologizes and promises to change. Gifts or favors may be part of the apology. Don't accept them. There's no substitution that you could give somebody for abusing them. If a person has a broken arm, half of their face is torn off, a broken neck, and you go get them some flowers, you need to be in prison. I said, you need to be in prison. An abuser apologizes and promises to change. Tension builds in a relationship and the cycle repeats itself over and over and over again. Over time, the violence may get worse and happen more often. Although this is a common way for domestic violence to happen, your situation may be different. People who are the targets of domestic violence may try to act out verbally or physically against an abuser. That can include yelling, pushing, or hitting during conflicts. An abuser might use those actions to manipulate you, claiming that they're proof that you are the abusive one. This sometimes is called gaslighting. They set you up. They antagonize you to get a response. And all the while, they got a hidden camera someplace. They're videotaping the whole thing. But you're the unsuspecting, gullible culprit. You don't know what they're setting you up for. They're overly generous. They're overly kind all of a sudden. Now they want to be sympathetic and understanding all the time. They're setting you up for the kill. Gaslighting. Many people dealing with domestic violence develop some unhealthy behaviors. Those behaviors might include trying to avoid or ignore certain situations, thoughts and feelings. Some people may drink too much alcohol or use illegal drugs. Others may attempt to harm themselves. Engaging in these, listen, self-affliction is a major tool they choose so they can go to the police. And once they go there, they'll go there emotionally distraught and crying and everything, knowing that they themselves caused the affliction to happen. Who do you think they're coming for? They're coming for you. Because they believe what they've heard. And when they believe what they've heard, the person who's suffering the most is you. And when the warning signs are there, one needs to learn to take heed and listen to wisdom. When wisdom is being spoken. And you want to know another thing? Do you know that on both sides in the religious world, pastors abuse their wives and wives abuse their husbands? Did you hear what I said? I said in the religious world, pastors abuse their wives and wives abuse their husbands, and they put on a good front every Sunday morning. Praise Jesus, hallelujah, glory be to God. Come on, church, let's praise him. And they praise him and they hate each other. For real, for real. They can't stand each other. They only marry for convenience purposes, especially if it's a mega church with thousands and thousands of members. They definitely are going to make sure that they play their part. Because when money is on the line, people will say and do anything not to give up that lifestyle because they don't want to be poor again. I said they don't want to be poor again. Once you've had a taste of prosperity and you come out of poverty, you don't want to go back. So these are signs that people need to pay attention to. This is not a game. This is real. Domestic violence. There are too many women who are abusing men, and the men are suffering in silence. They can't go tell their homeboys, because their homeboys are going to go home and tell their evil wife or girlfriend or partner. And of course, she's not going to believe it anyway. The first thing she'll say, well, he must have done something to her. What did he do? He must have said something or did something to her for her to act this way. No, it's just her. And you know what? Listen. A woman who is an abuser does not want to talk to a woman who's not an abuser because that woman can see straight through her and knows what exactly she is, and she'll discern her to no end and put her in her place. I said, she'll put her in her place and she won't like it. I was growing up, there were wise women that I was around and they knew how to get the truth out of me or anybody else. Oh, they knew how to get to the bottom of it. And they didn't play. They didn't need a psychoanalyst. They didn't need a psychotherapist. They didn't need a psychiatrist. They were all three of them. They were the psychiatrist, they were the psychoanalyst, and they were the psychotherapist. Hood style, baby. They knew how to break it down. So, people out there drinking and carrying on and doing all these things. Others may attempt to harm themselves. Engaging in these behaviors doesn't mean you are at fault for the abuse or that you deserve it. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you deserve to be abused. There's no justification for abuse. And there need to be new laws. Once I become a lawyer, I'm going to advocate for stricter laws for women who abuse men, who lie on men, set them up, and send them to prison because they themselves, once they're found out, they need to suffer the same ramifications and hardships that they put an innocent person through. Yeah, I said it. Enough is enough. Enough is enough of women lying on men, destroying their lives, having them locked up. And they know exactly what they did. And when they get them put in jail, you know who they're going to get? That no good, rotten man who abused them forever and take everything that he has and live off of it knowing he's locked up for the next 20 years. Prove me wrong then. They always go back to trash and garbage. They don't want someone that's wholesome. You know what they say about a good man? You're too weak. You're too passive. You're too good for me. I don't deserve this type of treatment. So they get a thug, a roughneck, a hoodlum, who curses and swears and destroys them. That person they love. I love him. Why? There's nothing good about her. Why? He's just a woman doing the things reversal that a man would do. So if you're having trouble identifying what's happening, take a step back. Look at larger patterns in your relationship. Then review the signs of domestic violence. In an abusive relationship, the person who routinely uses these behaviors is the abuser. The person on the receiving end is being abused. Anyone who feels threatened, vulnerable, or scared in a relationship needs help. Along with causing physical harm, domestic violence can lead to many other problems, including depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. It can also raise the risk of drug or alcohol misuse. If you find a man, I'm talking about real decent, upstanding men now, who says, I just hate to go home. I can't stand the sight of her. I feel much better when I'm at work and I'm away from her. Every time I go home, I get sick. I don't want to be in the same room with her. That's a man that's being abused. He doesn't go into great detail, but you can look at him every time you see him. All the signs are there. Stress, worry, anxiety, depression. But seeking help isn't always easy because men are traditionally thought to be physically stronger than women. Physicality has nothing to do with it. When it comes to emotions, emotions are emotions. Emotions are neither male nor female. They're emotions. That's the bottom line. So because men traditionally thought to be physically stronger than women, men might be less likely to report domestic violence. That is true, because they don't want to appear to be weak. Domestic violence happens in same sex relationships too. Stigma, embarrassment, and worry that the abuse will be minimized or dismissed may discourage men from seeking help. Well, I'm sounding the alarm loud and clear. Men, if you are in an abusive relationship, you need to put an end to it yourself. Your self respect and dignity is more important than attempting to pleasing somebody who's ungrateful, unthankful, unreasonable. All you'll do is argue, 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 argue. No matter what the topic of conversation is, you're never going to get along. And just because you don't like what's being said, don't mean it's wrong. See, the comments don't stop me from talking. I'm going to talk anyway. That's the bottom line. Because there are too many women out there in the world who know that law enforcement will automatically be on their side. They got all these talk show hosts and emotionally damaged women who are talk show hostess who are automatically going to be on your side. But when it comes to men, they think that men are not supposed to speak up. Yes, you can. Open your mouth, get the help you need. Don't live in silence. Don't be like this good pastor who lost his life. I'll be right back. Tyrone Bowman live. I'm talking about domestic violence and women who abuse men. I need to take a quick break. So enjoy the music. If I can find it. I think I just turned it off. All right, here we go. Bam. Tonight, I'm talking about domestic violence, women who abuse men. This is not an easy topic to discuss, but it's an important topic to deal with because hundreds of thousands and maybe millions of men in America and around the world are suffering unnecessarily at the hands of abusive women. And one resolution, abusive men, you need to make for yourself, don't go into the next year thinking that it's going to be any better, because it's not. It's going to get worse. There is no pleasing an abuser. You cannot satisfy an emotionally damaged, erratically out of control individual who needs help themselves. But they won't admit they need help because they'll say, well, this is who I am. No, that's not who you are. You weren't born to be that way. You learn the pattern of abuse from someone. It could have happened with your aunt or your mother or your grandmother. You learned it, and you vowed within yourself that you wouldn't take no mess, crap off of any man, so you have become the abuser. In many instances, women who are abusers are damaged because of relationship they had with a man or men who were the love of their life, and he was abusive. So therefore, the next man that you meet, you want him to pay for all the damage that somebody did to you prior to meeting them. That is wrong. Just like you don't want to raise somebody else's children that he had from a previous relationship, then why should he raise yours that you have from a previous relationship? That's called abuse. Everyone has a past. Most men won't admit that they're being abused, but it's true anyway. Just because a person doesn't like the topic of conversation doesn't mean it's not right. I'm sounding an alarm on the watchman wall, and I'm going to talk about it. Because this program is going to help some men somewhere. They're going to have an epiphany. They're going to awaken. They're going to realize that they were not put on this earth to be a battering ram. You weren't put on this earth to be belittled, to be chastised, dominated by an out of control, bitter, hateful, emotionally damaged woman. That's what the Diary of a Mad Black Woman was all about. And when the right man came along, she didn't know how to handle him. So let's get back to the recognizing the batterers, the patterns. Some men don't reveal abuse due to concern about the way people might view their masculinity. Who cares what someone may think about you being masculine or not? Men cry. Men get hurt. That don't make you a punk or a bitch. Yeah, I'm talking straight talk. That doesn't make you weak because you admit that you're being abused. Men being abused by other men may be hesitant to talk about the problem because it could reveal sexual orientation or gender identity when there is a desire to keep that information private. Whatever. In many communities, there are fewer resources for male victims of domestic violence. Healthcare professionals might not think to ask men if injuries are caused by domestic violence. That can make it harder to open up about abuse. Some men might worry that if they talk about the abuse, they'll be accused of wrongdoing. That is true. It's precipitous. What will she do? She will set you up and call you a rapist, call you a pedophile, call you a child molester, get you in trouble with the police, ruin your life, destroy every good thing about you, have you locked up in prison for 20 to 40 years, knowing she's a liar. Look, I don't care if folks don't like it. It goes on every day. It goes on every single day. There are AI-generated videos on Instagram right now where you hear the voice of a judge. You don't see the judge. He's telling these now ex-convicts after they served, one person served 56 years, the judge says, "You're free to go. We made a mistake." Man says, "Where am I supposed to go? I don't have any family." Then you hear the voice of the judge say, "Well, you had a son, but he died yesterday, but you can't stay here." There needs to be places and shelters put in place, safe houses for men who are being abused by women. I told you earlier on in this video about a young man who lost his life. He was a decent, God-fearing pastor, married to an abusive, out of control, jealous, obsessive woman. And she set him up to be killed in front of his own daughter. And then ran to her grandmother's house pretending that she was being abused. All the abuse that goes on in churches. People being abused emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. And I'm going to tell you a true story in a moment. And I know it's true because I know the person that it happened to. So healthcare professionals didn't want men that abuse. Why? Some men might worry that if they talk about the abuse, they'll be accused of wrongdoing. Remember, though, if you're being abused, you aren't to blame. Help is available. Start by telling someone. You got to document everything. Don't be afraid to document things. That could be a family member or a close friend, or it could be a healthcare team member, an advocate at a domestic violence hotline, or another person you trust. At first, it might be hard to talk about abuse, but you'll likely feel relief and receive much needed support. Domestic violence has an impact on children, that's true, even if no one physically harms them. Domestic violence in their home makes children more likely to have emotional, social, and developmental problems. They also are at a higher risk of mental health conditions, problems at school, aggressive behavior, and low self-esteem. If you find a child at school who's always angry and upset and irate, you need to talk to them and find out what's really going on here. Because that's not the true nature of the individual. Some people worry that seeking help could make the danger of their children worse. or that it might break up the family, then break the family up. Because it's not a family if there's abuse continuously going on. The children, what do they see? Argue, cussing, fighting, drinking, smoking. Her parading men in and out of the house all the time. Oh, this is your uncle. Oh, that's your cousin. Yeah, that's your uncle on your mother's side, and all this kind of foolishness. The lies that they tell. And then when somebody decent objects to it, you need to stay out of my business. I resent the fact that you're telling me how to run my household, how to raise my family. This is my man. I tell him what to do. I run this over here. Yeah, but you know what you're doing? You're setting yourself up to be locked up, lady. Because if I was a judge, and I may become one day, and you come before me, and I know that you are a real, genuine, authentic abuser, you will get no mercy coming from the court. None. There's no justification for you to put your hands on another woman's child. I'll say it again. There's no justification for a woman to be an abuser. If you don't like the relationship, get the hell out of it. Walk out of it the same way you walked into it. And don't use money as a ruse to stay in an abusive relationship, male or female. Start over again. I did. Started over with nothing. Told the lawyer, I don't give a damn. I don't want nothing. I'm out. Finish. Benito. Finis. Start at the bottom if you have to and work your way back up. Forget about what people think. And men, you need to make a safety plan. The same way women make a safety plan, you need to make a safety plan. And brothers, don't tell me that men don't suffer emotional, mental, and psychological and verbal abuse from evil, bitter, hateful, loud-mouthed, foul-speaking, out-of-control women. It goes on every single day, and your behind ain't big enough for a man to put up with that kind of abuse. Yeah, that's right, I said it. BBL don't make you a man want to stay with him. There ain't no much sexual intercourse in all the world for a man to allow himself to be berated and belittled by a woman for a few moments of emotional satisfaction. Get your self-respect back. Get your dignity back before it is too late. Because if you don't make the decision to leave, she'll make the decision to destroy you. And she'll look you right in your eyes and tell you these words, quote, if I can't have you, nobody will, end quote. And that, my friend, is a death threat. And she means it. I said, and she means it. There's a woman right now getting ready to do a hard time because she unloaded her revival on her pastor lover. She was his mistress. When he wanted to end the affair, she didn't want to end the affair. I watched the whole thing on the court case because I'm a law student, so I pay attention to things. She unloaded that revolver until there was nothing left in it. And she had the nerve to shoot his wife. And she had nothing to do with the affair. He was wrong and she was wrong. I said, the pastor was wrong. He lost his life. And the mistress was wrong. That she'll be sitting in prison for the rest of her life. All because they played husband and wife in the house of the Lord. What is wrong with, where's the fear for some of you people to play with the things of God? Where's your reverence for him? Where's your respect for the Almighty? How could you come to the house of Almighty God knowing that you're not right? You know you live in foul, live in filthy, and live in a perverted lifestyle, but yet you want to play with God. Are you crazy? You cannot be a leader, a male or female, in the Lord's church and live a double lifestyle. If you can't live it, leave it. Y'all go on someplace and be together. You get a divorce, he get a divorce, go off into the sunset, get on a horse and live happily ever after. But don't play with people's lives, because it always leads to destruction in the end. See, I'm not reading from the script right now. I'm talking from my heart. Because when you don't do the things that are necessary to protect yourself, you open up yourself for yourself to be destroyed. All the warning signs are always there in every relationship. What do? We ignore them. Oh, I like the way she makes me feel. Oh, she don't mean that. She just has a bad attitude sometimes. Or she just playing when she hit me. Oh, mom, she's not being disrespectful, mom. That's just her personality. No, you got an evil, bitter wife, bruh. And your mother's trying to warn you before it's too late, before you break her heart and she becomes a grieving mother. Then that's going to cause hate in your mother's heart for her and her family. I told you I'm going to talk about all these forms of abuse, but tonight I'm starting with men who are being abused. In the next video, I'll talk about women that are abused. But this one tonight, I'm dealing with men that are being abused. So you have to make a safety plan. If you feel vulnerable, scared, or threatened by your partner, it's important to make a safety plan. This plan can help if you decide to leave your partner. It's also valuable to have a safety plan if you are in danger and need to get away quickly. So listen to these recommended steps. 1. Call a domestic violence hotline for support and advice. Hotline counselors can tell you about resources to help you. Make the call when your partner is away. A call from a family member's or friend's home or the safe location or other safe location. Number 2, pack an emergency bag. Include items you'll need if you leave, such as clothes, extra keys, a phone charger, and spare glasses or contact lenses. Store the bag in a safe place. Keep it outside your home if possible. 4, number 3, keep important personal papers, money, and prescription medications easy available. That way you can take them with you on a short notice, and take your toothbrush with you. Don't leave your toothbrush at home if you're in an abusive relationship, because you'll do all kind of nasty, disgusting things with that toothbrush. You better listen. Take this video and share it. Share this video, circulate it, so a warning sign can be sounded. Some mothers who will watch this video later, your sons are being abused by their girlfriends, their partner, or their wife or intended wife. Make them watch this video before it is too late, before they become another unsolved murder and another statistic. And that heifer will go get a lying defense attorney to sit up in court and lie. And what they will do to your son that he's dead, they will put him on trial from the grave and make it appear like he was the abuser. Number 4, keep a phone close by as much as possible. Have emergency numbers and key contacts entered into the phone so that you can call quickly if you need help. Memorize numbers. Decide ahead of time where you'll go if you leave and how you get there. It's also a good idea to plan a signal you can give to a trusted friend, neighbor, or family member. If you need someone to call 911 or emergency for you. Don't suffer in silence, men. The time is over. Stop allowing that manipulative, controlling, deceitful woman to use her body to get what she wants from you. Yes, I said it. A lot of these women are nothing but fixins. They use their every body part to get what they want and don't care because they saw their mother do it. And they're emulating and imitating. Have you ever watched Street Atlanta interviews? You need to check it out. Find out how those people got out there. Everybody didn't start out being homeless. They didn't start out being on the streets. You know, individuals must put themselves in the situation. So stay digitally safe. An abuser can use technology to monitor your telephone and online communication and to track where you are. You better learn to turn your location off. If you're concerned for your safety, seek help. To maintain your privacy, use your phone carefully. An abuser may stop you from getting calls or might listen to your conversations. An abuser might use caller ID, check your cell phone, or search your phone billing records to see your call and text. Watch for new apps added to your phone or your children's phones without your knowledge that may be used to monitor or record you. An abuser might use spyware to watch your emails and the websites you visit. When you seek help, use a different computer at a safe location. That could be a computer at work, at a library, or at a trusted friend's house. Be aware of location devices in your car. If your car has a GPS or other location device, an abuser could use it to find your location. Modern cars have trackers built in them. Did you know that? Modern cars at the dealership, they put a GPS tracker on the car. Change your email password as often as you possibly can. And choose passwords that your partner cannot guess. Make them long. Clear your computer viewing history. Follow your computer's web browser directions to clear any record of websites or graphics you've viewed. That's how you protect yourself. So, where do you seek help? In an emergency, call 911 or your local emergency number. Someone you trust, turn to a family member, close friend, neighbor, co-worker, or religious or spiritual advisor for support. Make sure they're the right kind. You can talk to a healthcare professional. Doctors, nurses, and other healthcare team members can care for injuries. They can also help you to connect to local resources for help who are dealing with domestic violence. The National Domestic Violence Hotline number is 800-799-SAFE. That's 800-799-SAFE or 800-799-7233, 800-799-7233. You can call the hotline anytime. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The hotline offers tools and support for anyone dealing with domestic violence. It's free and confidential. Counseling and support groups for people in abusive relationships are available in most communities. If you need help finding one in your area, ask a healthcare professional. And last, a court can help you get a protective order or restraining order. Sometimes they don't work though. So you have to have another safety plan. That order means an abuser cannot contact you or come near you without facing arrest. But once you get it, you have to know how to enforce it. An advocate who specializes in domestic abuse may be available to help guide you through the process. Do not suffer alone. Of course, they do it. But you know what, though? They can be beaten at their own game. An abusive woman can be beaten at her own game. It doesn't matter what some ill-advised advice they get from an attorney. Take your destiny and future into your own hands. Know the warning signs about domestic violence. And if you're in that type of relationship, make sure you find ways to get out of it. In the next edition, I'll talk about women who are being abused by abusive men. Never surrender. Never quit.